On the last episode of the podcast, we talked about the tools to help you trade faster and trade smarter. Today, we're going to be talking about 3 tips for risk management.
This is the How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast, brought to you by 10minutestocktrader.com, where we give you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you trade faster and trade smarter. And here's your host, voted one of the top 100 people in finance by Redwood Media Group, founder and head trader of 10minutestocktrader.com, Christopher Uhl.
Hey there, 10-minute traders, and welcome back to the How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast. Hey, do me a favor real quick before we get started. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and enable notifications so you never miss any of the tools, tips, and tricks that we upload every single week to help you trade faster and trade smarter. Now, today we're going to be talking about 3 tips. On the last episode, we talked about tools. Today, we're going to be talking about tips, and they are centered and focused around risk management. And I'm going to try to keep this episode on the shorter side because I know I could be long-winded on occasion here. But the first tip I want to talk about here is trading small. Now, whenever you have options or whenever you're getting into a trade, you're thinking, oh man, this can only work out in my favor. I can't lose. Trust me, I've been there. You want to trade small. And honestly, small is dependent, right? I know some traders that say small is 1% of their account. Steve Burns, he says, risk no more than 1% of your account. He's saying you can put on a big trade, but if it goes against you, you're only going to limit the risk to 1% of your account. So let's say if it's a $100,000 account, you put on one trade, the max risk you're going to put on that trade is $1,000, right? Now, granted, you can scale that up or scale that down to whatever. But if you get smaller, obviously, let's say you have a $1,000 account and the most you can risk is, how much would that be? $10? That makes it pretty hard. I understand. For me, in my own portfolio, I like to risk between 6 and 8%. Now, 6 and 8% is somewhat arbitrary, but it allows me to have a good risk and return profit dollar, I guess you could say, versus the size of my account. And whenever I have I guess I should say the margin at first is 6 to 8% of my account, not 68, but 6 to 8, right? That's the initial margin. And then if things go against me, my personal risk point is 3%. So there you go. Steve's is 1%, mine is 3%. And you know what? Every trader is different, and that's just the way I trade. So for me, my trading small is really having margin on the account of about 6 to 8% per position. Yeah, per position. And then if it does go against me, 3% is my risk tolerance. Basically half of that initial margin is what I would be willing to lose in that case. So trading small will keep you from blowing up, right? If it is 1%, you could get 100 trades wrong in a row before you blow up your account. And with 3%, you could get 33 trades wrong before you blow up your account. It gives you flexibility because I have been there. I have been the guy that's put on 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% of my account in one trade and lost it. And it sucks a lot. So be sure that whenever that's the first tip, is to trade small. Identify your risk going into the trade, not just hoping for the best. Hey, do you trade options like I do? Then you don't want to skip this. You want to pay attention. I just found the very best options trading platform out there, and I want to tell you all about them. I bet you feel like you're never satisfied with your current options broker, right? Anytime you want to get help, anytime you call them, anytime you email them, you never actually get to talk to a human. And you need to talk to somebody because their platform is so difficult to use. I mean, you've got to go through all these different screens just to place a single trade. And then on top of that, their commissions are eating you alive. You can't even make money because the commissions cost more than your profits. My name's Christopher Uhl, and I was awarded one of the top 100 people in finance, and I'm also the host of the How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast. And Tastyworks is the platform that I use and I recommend. Yeah, I know they got a funny name, but you're going to want to learn more about this platform. It was built by options traders for options traders. So if you're an options trader, you definitely want to check out Tastyworks. It was built on the back of high frequency trading technology. So you're going to be getting close to the best fills possible. And on top of that, their commission structure, it's almost unbeatable. It's only $1 per leg to open a trade and $0 per leg to close a trade. So click the link to check out Tastyworks today and use the code 10MINUTE, that's 10MINUTE, to get over $150 in free 10-Minute Trader exclusive bonuses just for signing up for a Tastyworks account. It really doesn't get easier than that. You're going to get the best platform that I've ever used, and you're going to get free bonuses from 10MinuteStockTrader.com. So make sure you check out Tastyworks and use the code 10MINUTE, and you'll be just as blown away as I was by Tastyworks and their options trading platform built by traders for traders. Second thing we want to talk about is don't add to losers. Man, have I been guilty of this, right? Let's say you bought a stock for $100 initially, and it's gone down to 95, and you're like, okay, well, here's a great spot for me to get back long again. Oh, look, it's just dropped to 90. Okay, so your initial position is down 10%. Your second position is down 5%. Now, do you really think you're obviously wrong? That's the way I look at it, right? You were wrong. And rather than changing your plan and moving on and getting into the next trade, you decided to be more wrong, which is not super smart in my opinion. But like I say, I've been there, right? Adding to losers feels good at the time because you can buy a lot more for a smaller price. And it lowers your break even. And I know that's what traders think of, right? Oh, my break even was 100. Now my break even is 97. Oh, now my break even is 95. Every dollar it moves down is better for me on my break even. But in all reality, I mean, you're adding to a losing position. You weren't right initially. Your initial assumptions were incorrect. And rather than cutting your losses and moving on to the next trade, you've decided to hold on to that. And because you've held on to that, now you're sinking further and further into the hole versus just moving on. You trade stocks and options, right? Or at least you want to. Don't skip this ad, but pay attention. You're going to want to hear this. Do you ever feel like you just don't know which stock to pick? There's so many of them out there. Or maybe you even feel like the market is working against you, and that every time you put on a trade, it just seems to go wrong. You're losing, you're sweating, you're always staring at your phone wondering, why does this keep happening? My name's Christopher Uhl, and I was awarded one of the top 100 people in finance, and I'm also the host of the How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast. And I found this awesome service called FinClub.ai that I want to share with you today. FinClub.ai uses artificial intelligence to deliver you the very best stock picks that I have ever seen. And with these stock picks, you're going to be trading with the algos out there instead of against them. This is the kind of tech that the big Wall Street banks use whenever they're placing trades. They really do take the guesswork out of trading, and their win rates on any given day are between 85 and 95%. It is absolutely unreal and just a little scary just how well this artificial intelligence works. So click here to learn more and use the code 10MINUTE, that's 10MINUTE, and you'll get 2 weeks of free stock picks delivered to you every single day. And as a bonus offer, you're going to get your first month half off, and that comes after your 2-week free trial. So now you've got 6 weeks to see just how great the stock picks are at FinClub.ai, where they take the guesswork out of trading. And that leads to our third risk management tip of the day, is to cut losses early. All of these tips I've learned from experience. I mean all of them, 100% of them. I will say that cutting my losses early was something that, it seems so intuitive, right? But you go back to tip number 2, you're looking at it like, oh, well, now my break-even point's lower because I added to it, right? I added to my losers, right? Yeah, cutting your losses early sounds so easy, but you're holding on to it and you're like, oh, it's going down, but maybe tomorrow the market will bounce back. Holding on to it, maybe tomorrow it'll bounce back. Holding on to it, and it never bounces back. Or let's say you've got a short trade and the market's moving one direction, and we've all seen that, where the market just seems to only go up. And then what can you do? You're kind of just stuck with this trade. I know some traders that are in the school of thought of, there is no stop loss point, especially with options sellers. And I have a really hard time wrapping my brain around that, because it's like, hey, I'm going to sell this option. Let's call it for $3. And the stock, it's on 100 strike and the current stock price is at 100. So my break even is at 97. Okay, the stock has come down to 97, right? But I'm going to roll this to next month. And next month, guess what? It goes down from 97 to 95. I'm going to roll it to the next month. Give it more time. 97 to 95 to 92. I'm going to roll it to the next month and it'll come back. 92, 87, 84. And they're just adding to losers and losers and losers. That's what they're doing. They're adding to losers by not cutting their losses. So that's another tip. And honestly, talking with, learning from Steve Burns, that was one of the biggest takeaways that I've put in my own account. I've seen drastic improvements. This is where my stop loss is going to be, period. If it's the amount I've lost in the trade or if it's the amount of the stock price, this is where I draw my line in the sand. Why? Because I can be wrong. I'm great with that. But I would rather lose 3% on my risk than 30%, right? Cutting your losses early is a huge factor in being profitable. Because if you're only making, round numbers here, let's say you're making $100 per trade if you're selling that option. Okay, that's great. I love $100 per trade. But on the flip side of it, and this is where I have had a lot of issues, on the flip side of it, if your average losses is $150, $200, $300 a trade, that $100 isn't going to make up for it, right? Your average losses are 2 to 3 times as big as your average winner. And yeah, it's just cut your losses early. That's the matter of fact of it. I've probably gone on for too long today. I told you I'd keep it short, but I have failed at that. So here are the 3 risk management takeaways that I've learned from experience. And honestly, I really want you to start implementing something like this in your own portfolio. It's number 1, trade small. Limit your risk. Know what that risk is going into your trade. Have a written plan on what you're going to do if it does hit that risk point, and then execute that plan. The only person you're holding yourself accountable to is yourself. So you really should try to hold yourself accountable, right? The second risk mitigation technique is, or risk mitigation tip is, don't add to losers. I'm referencing my notes down here. Don't add to losers. Yes, things go wrong on occasion. And you know what? On occasion, it's much easier to cut those losses, which is our third tip here. Move on with your life, get that capital back, move on to a different trade. And it's okay to be wrong, especially when you're a trader. Traders I don't know of any other profession, I've said this before, I don't know any other profession that gets to be as wrong as we do, as frequently as we do as traders, yet still come back day after day after day, right? If you were wrong on every test you ever took, you would feel pretty terrible as a student. But as traders, we get to be wrong a lot, but it's what matters when you're wrong. What matters is what you do when you're wrong and what you do when you're right. You want to cut those losses early. You want to avoid as much risk as possible. You want to take risk off the table so that your rewards can keep stacking and grow your portfolio. So hey, thank you so much for listening to today's How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast. If you found this useful, please make sure you like, subscribe, and enable notifications so you never miss any of the tools, tips, and tricks that we upload every single week to help you trade faster and trade smarter. And I'll see you on the next episode. Hey, thank you so much for listening to today's How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast. I know you're a listener, but are you a watcher? Make sure you head on over to YouTube, type in 10-Minute Stock Trader, and subscribe to the 10MinuteStockTrader.com YouTube channel. Every week, I upload all the podcasts as full videos, and that way you're getting the full 10-minute trading experience. That way you can have all the tools, tips, and tricks to help you trade faster and trade smarter. Make sure you subscribe to whatever podcast app you're listening to, and leave me a 5-star review if you don't mind. That would be fantastic. And whenever you're done with that, head on over to 10MinuteStockTrader.com and download the 1-minute options trading quick start guide. It'll give you all the tools, tips, and tricks that I use in my own portfolio, and it never gets outdated, and it will apply to every single options trade out there. So I think it'll be pretty useful for you. And while you're there, check out the free portfolio page. That'll show you everything that I've traded over the last year in full transparency. And since you're on the website already, check out the free trading course. In this free trading course, I give you every single thing that I know and use in my own portfolio, and I definitely think it'll help you out too. And then, after you're done there, head on over to tastyworks.com and sign up using the code 10MINUTE, that's 10MINUTE, and I'll send you over $150 in free 10-Minute Trader exclusive bonuses from 10MinuteStockTrader.com. And most of all, thank you so much for letting me be a part of your day. I really appreciate the fact that you and I have connected today and that you've chosen to put me inside your earbuds. That means the absolute world to me. And thank you so much for stopping by.
10MinuteStockTrader.com content is for information and educational purposes only. It is not, nor is it intended to be, trading or investment advice or recommendation that any security, futures contract, options contract, transaction, or other financial instrument or strategy is suitable for any person. Trading securities can involve high risk and the potential for total loss of any funds invested. 10MinuteStockTrader.com and Christopher Uhl, through its content, financial programming, or otherwise, does not provide investment or financial advice or make investment recommendations. Investment information provided may not be suitable for all investors and is provided without respect to the individual investors and audience's financial sophistication, financial situation, investing time horizon, or risk tolerance. 10MinuteStockTrader.com and Christopher Uhl are not in the business of trading securities trades, nor does it direct client commodity accounts or give commodity trading advice tailored to any particular client situation or investment objectives. 10MinuteStockTrader.com and Christopher Uhl are not licensed financial advisors, registered investment advisors, or registered broker-dealers. Stocks, options, futures options, and other financial instruments not included here involve risk and are not suitable for all investors. You alone are responsible for making your investment and financial trading decisions, and for evaluating the merits and risks associated with the use of any financial security and broker platform. For more information, please visit 10MinuteStockTrader.com/legal. And thanks for stopping by.